Let's go back into the woods and search for wild medicinals and edibles. Hey everybody, welcome to Living Traditions Homestead. My name is Sarah, and well, today I've been busy in the greenhouse potting some things for the farmers market this upcoming weekend, and I thought I would take a break and do one of the things that I really enjoy doing, which is exploring the woods and finding wild edibles and wild medicinals that I can bring back to the house and either use fresh or dry so that I can use it throughout the year. The other day took a little walk into the woods and I saw that wild raspberry and wild blackberry canes are starting to get their leaves, and I love to collect those new leaves, dry them, and then use them throughout the year in different teas. So I thought that I would take you out into the woods today and look for both of those and collect a bunch of those leaves and show you the difference between wild raspberries and wild blackberries. And you can actually tell the difference pretty well right now in the spring. And so I thought I would do that. And also, you know, the last time we were together and I was looking for wild edibles and medicinals, I was really hoping to find some violets to put on Grace's birthday cake, which I never found. I have noticed that the violets are starting to bloom. So I'm hoping that maybe I can fill up a little jar with some violet leaves to dry and use for various things around the homestead. And so I'll be keeping my eye out for those as well. And who knows, maybe we'll find some unexpected things for me to show you and for you to learn about. So let's head back into the woods and see what we can find. Well, what would a foraging adventure be without a cute basket? So I brought my trusty basket along with me today. And I have 3 jars in there. This one I'm going to put the raspberry leaves in. Oh no. Is that evidence of hard work, or shows you that I don't wash my hands enough when I go in the house? Anyway, I have 1 jar for raspberry leaves, 1 jar for blackberry leaves, 1 jar for violet flowers if I find some, and maybe some extra room in between if I find anything else interesting. So let's go. Hey you guys, so the first path that I'm taking into the woods, I just looked down and noticed that it is filled with all these violet flowers. So I'm going to take some time and pick all of these. They're just everywhere. Put them in my jar. Well, that was such a nice surprise. Look at all of these I got. So happy with that. Okay, let's go see what else we can find. This is also the perfect time of year to find morel mushrooms, which are really a delicacy, and they can be found all over Missouri. Lots of people have been finding them in our area, but as of this very day, Kevin and I have never found a single morel mushroom. But the search continues. We're hoping that maybe this year we'll find them so that we can experiment with them, but we're kind of afraid that they will never make their appearance for us. But I'll keep my eyes open, and it will be a fantastic surprise if I find one today. I found something fun to show you. This is called wood sorrel, and it is edible. I'm not sure if it has any medicinal properties, but it is edible. It's really sour. It's kind of like lemon. Oh yeah, really lemony. I forgot, it's the first time we've picked some this year. But we like to pick these a little bit, put them in our salad for a nice little tangy surprise, but too much is too much. A little goes a long way. So look for that. Make sure that you know what you're picking and eating before you actually eat it. But wood sorrel is very, very tasty in a salad. Well, I walked by a big patch of Mae apples. Let me show you what Mae apples look like. Mae apples look like little umbrellas, or maybe little palm trees or something like that. These come up all over the place at our on our property, our homestead property. You can see just a giant number of them over here. Now, Mae apples There's a portion of them that is edible, but you need to be very careful. Mae apples underneath that umbrella will, they'll produce a flower, and the flower will produce a fruit that looks like a lemon. Now, if you wait and you pick the fruit, the lemon portion, when it's perfectly yellow and soft, it's edible. However, if it's not ripe and any time before it's ripe, it's poisonous, okay? And most people who have Mae apples on their property have never eaten a Mae apple, mostly because the critters get them and they love them, and they get them before you do. To me, they're just magical and pretty, and they're a sign that spring is here, and I don't worry about trying to catch the flower or catch the fruit. I just like to see them. I came across a whole patch of blackberry brambles, and I want to give you an opportunity to learn the difference between what a blackberry cane looks like versus a raspberry cane versus a wild rose. So let's take a look. This here is a blackberry cane. Now, the blackberry and the raspberry leaves look very similar. But the difference is going to be in the cane. Blackberry canes are ribbed vertically. So it's not a smooth cane, it is a ribbed cane vertically. And you'll be able to see the difference more when we get to the raspberry cane. So when you feel this, it's kind of bumpy, only because there are ribs that run up and down. Okay, but these leaves, especially because they're new leaves in the spring, this is what we're going to harvest and dry for tea. These blackberry canes will grow more leaves, so I don't have to worry about picking them. They'll grow back. What you do need to be careful of is the prickers. These are wild blackberry canes, and there's no such thing as thornless wild blackberry canes. Blackberry leaves in a tea are good for helping diarrhea, as well as inflammation in the mucous membranes. So if you have a sore throat or a canker sore in your mouth or sore gums or something like that, you can make tea or a gargle to help relieve inflammation associated with those things. I found a good example to show you of a wild rose so that you can differentiate between wild rose, wild blackberry, and wild raspberry. So the wild rose has thorns, just like the others. The stems are rounded like a raspberry, but I'll show you that when we get there. The leaves are quite different. They come up off the stem in groups, and they actually are not in threes. They're in groups of 2, 4, 5, 6. So that is a rose, and it will produce a little bitty rose and then a little bitty rose hip in the fall. I have found a patch of wild raspberry canes to show you. Now, wild raspberry leaves are one of my favorite things to put in tea all throughout the year. They are an immune booster because they have quite a bit of vitamin C in them, and also, they are very good for women's health issues, if you know what I mean. I actually don't have any problems with women health issues, but that is for you guys to know. Learn more about that, do your research. But let me show you the difference between raspberry canes and blackberry canes. Now, raspberry canes are going to look a little bit on the purplish side, and they have kind of a white powdery substance on them that you can just rub off with your thumb. Let me see if I can bring you closer so you can see the color on that. See how it has a purplish tinge? That is raspberry versus blackberry. Now also, raspberry canes are completely smooth all around. They don't have the vertical ribs like the blackberry, but the leaves are very similar. They have 3 leaves that are connected at the bottom. So this is actually a really nice patch of wild raspberries, and they have some really nice looking leaves coming out of them. And so I am going to fill the rest of my jar and harvest what I can. Hopefully I'll be able to get out here again, but just in case I can't, I'm going to get what I came out here for today, which is my favorite wild raspberry leaves. Well, let's see what we got on our trip today. I'm very excited about everything that we have in the basket, but you know what we didn't find? Morel mushrooms. You guys, I think it's just somebody's imagination going wild. There's no such thing as morel mushrooms, and maybe it's just like a fairy tale or something, because we are just not finding any, but we'll keep looking. But I am really happy with all the finds that we did have today, so let me show you everything that's in the basket. So you can see that I found quite a few violets, almost half of a jar, and they are beautiful. I'm happy to have those. And a nice little pile of wood sorrel for our salad, not too many so it's not too tart. A nice big jar of blackberry leaves, and a nice big jar stuffed full, I don't think I could get any more in there, of raspberry leaves. Now notice I put a ribbon on the raspberry leaves so that I could tell the difference between the raspberry leaves and the blackberry leaves, because they look exactly alike, and when I get home I need to know the difference. Once I get them in the house, the violets will go in my dehydrator, and the wood sorrel will be eaten. And the raspberry leaves and the blackberry leaves, I actually just dry on like a plate or a platter or something, and let them just air dry naturally. And then I'll put them in a jar, and I'll vacuum seal them, and then I can start using them all year round. Isn't it just so peaceful out here? Makes me not want to go back to reality, but it's almost dinner time and I need to get back to the house and fix dinner. The kids are home from school and things just need to be done. So it's time for me, unfortunately, to leave the woods and go back to the house. I hope you guys learned something from me today about foraging. I know that I had done a video before about foraging. I'll put a link to that video up here. And I got such great feedback from you all saying do more foraging videos. So as long as you guys continue to enjoy them, I'll continue to do them throughout the spring and the summer and probably the fall. So we'll see what happens. Hey, if you are new to our channel and you have not subscribed yet, right now is a perfect time to hit the subscribe button below. If you are one of our traditionalists that comes back every day, welcome and thank you so much. You guys are awesome. If you enjoyed this, please share it with your friends and family. That's how more people get to know about us, and that's important. Until next time, you guys, thanks so much for stopping by the homestead and the woods. Take care and God bless.